The hidden mental tax of being broke. And I don't just mean the late fees or the overdraft penalties. I'm talking about the literal cost on your brain power. When people struggle financially, the default narrative is usually, well, they just made poor choices, or they need better discipline. But what if we have it completely backward? What if poverty forces bad choices? A groundbreaking study published in the journal Science by researchers at Princeton, Harvard, and Warwick University flipped the script on wealth. They discovered that the constant crushing weight of trying to survive financially temporarily tanks your IQ. Think of your brain like a smartphone. At any given moment, you only have a certain amount of processing power, what psychologists call mental bandwidth. If you're financially secure, your heavy background apps are closed. You aren't standing in the grocery aisle sweating over whether your debit card is going to clear. Your bandwidth is free. But when you're living paycheck to paycheck, your brain is constantly running massive, exhausting programs in the background just to stay afloat. How do I stretch $20 until Friday? What happens if the rent goes up? The researchers found that this all-consuming mental load leaves people with almost zero cognitive resources to focus on the very things that could help them escape, like higher education, job training, or career planning. And this isn't just a vague feeling. The scientists actually quantified the damage. They went to a mall in New Jersey and gave around 400 random people a series of logic tests. But right before the test, they threw a curveball. They gave them a hypothetical scenario. Your car just broke down. How are you going to pay for it? When the repair bill was small, around $150, both low-income and high-income participants aced the tests equally. But when they raised the repair bill to a terrifying $1,500, the high-income folks were unfazed. But the low-income participants? Their scores plummeted. The mere thought of a financial emergency triggered a drop in cognitive function equivalent to a 13-point dip in IQ. That is the exact same cognitive impairment you get from losing an entire night of sleep. Now, it's vital to understand that this mental tax is entirely different from regular stress. Normal stress can sometimes sharpen your focus. In fact, people living in poverty are often highly effective at solving the immediate financial crisis in front of them. A forgotten bill leads to a late fee. A night of poor sleep leads to being late for work, which leads to losing a job. As things get tighter, people are forced into desperate, costly decisions, like high-interest loans, which only reinforces the cycle. So, how do we fix a problem deeply hardwired into human psychology? The researchers argue that we need to stop blaming individuals and start designing a world that is scarcity-proof. Here are 3 ways to do that. Frictionless aid. We need to drastically simplify the paperwork for social safety net programs and financial aid. If poverty drains mental bandwidth, long, complicated forms actively prevent the people who need help from getting it. Forgiving system. Training programs, community colleges, and job placements need to build in a buffer for real life. If someone misses a class because their childcare fell through, the system should allow for easy restarts rather than immediate penalties. Buying back time. Wealthy people use money to buy time, hiring help, or using convenience apps. To break the cycle, we need public infrastructure that saves time for low-income families, like reliable, fast public transit and affordable childcare. At the end of the day, the biggest takeaway from this science is a heavy dose of empathy. Poverty isn't a character flaw. It's a cognitive tax imposed by a harsh environment. If we want to build a society where everyone can truly thrive, we don't just need to fix people's bank accounts. We need to free up their minds. Thanks for watching.